Live. All right, guys. So first of all, I want to say good morning to you guys. I know we've got people texting me that they're on their way over here right now. I want to say first off, props to all of you guys getting up early and being here early this morning. I know like the days are crazy. Oh my god, the neck cracks are intense. But this is if you can make sure Austin's just calling our top guys and our top 20%, Mary Lou, making sure. I know we've got people that are stuck and just with traffic and the wonderful Highway 6 that is underwater
I saw that,
disappeared.
Thank God the golf course isn't submerged though.
Yeah, you can still play some golf. But this right now, so I want to get you guys set up. So I think about, I was thinking last night, when I set up a push, when we've set up people for $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 push performances, it's not by accident. Like there's setup that happens going into it, very intentional process that we go through to make sure people are set up for success. So the first thing, you guys can write a couple things down, and we're going to work on it here this morning. That needs to be one is your attack list. Yesterday we talked about this at our SLDM, just getting the attack list together. And so for those who weren't there, can we recap? I don't know if you have a picture of it, but the different things you guys can do to get your attack list together. So you guys tell me if you right now, so attack list of 100 plus names and numbers, cool? Top people want to have 200 plus. You want to have 100 plus names and numbers. At a minimum, going for 200 plus. What are things you guys can do to make sure you have a list of 200 plus? Talk to me. What can you do to get your list? All right. So you'll be lost. So you guys say things, and then Patrick has like a list there. You guys tell me.
Seldom.
Seldom. Okay. I was like, seldom what? All right. So you're sell dump. All right. We talked about this yesterday. A sell dump. Can anyone explain what a sell dump is to me? Zyla.
It's going through your phone. You have 3 categories: people you know well, people you know of, and people you don't know.
Yeah, so people you know well, people you know of, and people you don't know at all. All right, so it's 3 categories that you have there. And so for that's just people that you know, gears that you know of people. But in your phone, everyone falls into one of 3 categories. You know them really well, you know of them, or they know of you, or you don't know them at all. All right, like you don't know the parents at all. So like from your cell phone, like your friend's parents, you either know them really well, they know of you, or you know of them, or you just don't know them at all. All right, so every single person in your phone. So have you done a cell dump and sat down and walked through every single person and said, okay, I know their parents. Okay, they know of me. If I was like, hey, it's Ronnie's friend Kathy, for like, oh, hey, they know who I am. Or do they like not know who I am at all, and they're like, so, everyone goes into one of those categories. So making sure that you guys you can do the cell dump. What else can we do to get your attack list together? Give me one thing, Anna, you can do to get more, like to put together a list of 100 plus names and numbers. What can you guys think of? I need you guys to think. I know it's early and you're like, what can you do?
Do more demos so you can get more.
Okay, more demos for more recommendations. We're going to go through recommendations now to help you guys out with that, to make sure, or set up your recommendation binders. And I'm going to show you how you want to set them up so that they're set up for success. What else? How about your initial list? Have you gone back to your initial list you wrote down on page 21, 22, and 23? Who did you not see? Who needed to reschedule, right? Who had an emergency, whatever, who'd you never get a hold of? So making sure you guys look at that and say, okay, who do I still need to contact? Because by the way, nobody in this room has seen every initial person. You want to know why? Because I've been here 14 years and I haven't seen every initial person yet, okay? Nobody has seen every initial person. And so every time I've gone back or I've gone to contest or gone to something, like, man, I never saw this person, or this person was busy and I had to reschedule and I never saw them, because then I started seeing other people and I never went back and saw them or got a hold of them. And I remember my sister's friend Alexis went and saw some of my initial people that I'd never seen when she started a couple of years later. This was years ago, and she sold, Mr. Andrews an ultimate set and sold something, and she sold like $5,000 to 3 people that I just never saw and forgot to get in touch with. I was like, dang it, and I lost those sales then. And even now, there's just people that I hadn't seen. So, who do you have? And you guys all have people on your chicken list. all right? And those are people that you could see, but you're too chicken to call, all right? So this is, pull the chicken list out. You got nothing to lose. We're going to make them some dinner, but making sure we do that. What else, Patty? What else did we talk about? So we said initial list going back. And by the way, the initial list, some of you guys never fully wrote your initial list because there's 4 gears of people that you're connected to. 1, again, you know them really, really well. 2, you know of them or they know of you, or it's been a while. Those are chicken list people, people that it's been a long time. It's kind of weird to call them, or people that, like you see them a couple times a year or whatever. So like you don't talk to them every day, but you know of them, they know of you, they know your family name, you have that connection. Gear 3 are similar associations. You might have never met them before, but you do have a connection. Same church, same neighborhood, same school, whatever it is, there's a similar connection, all right? And you want to make sure that those people that they're there, that you're there with them to do appointments. You want to make sure that those people are on your list, so that you're able to, get those guys organized and make sure you're targeting those as well. People, if you have a church directory, if you have a neighborhood directory, you can go on whitepages.com and do reverse searches. These are all things. What were the other things, Patty, that we put down?
With the phone dump, you could also do take your parents' phone contacts and just dump that as well. I mean, you may as well.
Mm-hmm.
Social media was a thing. Direct
Adrian, by the way, I need Adrian, Austin, need you guys over here. So yeah, social media. By the way, utilizing Facebook. So jot down Facebook. There's multiple things on Facebook you can do. First one, status. Have your parents, anyone over 30, that's the first thing you want to do. Everyone over 30, have them put up a status, all right? Hey, Chang, I need to make sure all of our staff is here and then our top 20%. So if you can please check up on, we've got these guys here. I'm missing Olivia and, excuse me. And then whatever top 20%, I know there's people on the way. But you need to have, so first, social media posts. Every single person over 30 years old that you know right now that's on social media, best friends' parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, whoever's on social media, texting them this morning, saying, I need a huge favor. I'm working so hard. I have a big contest coming up this next week and I'm trying to build momentum. My goal is to do a minimum of 10 appointments this week in order to build some momentum for next week. Some of you guys are going for 15 appointments. Some of you guys are going for 20 appointments. Some of you guys, some people are in there faster trying to do 5 a day. But if I'm you, even working part-time, I want to do 10 appointments minimum from now through Saturday to make sure that I have 100, 150, 200 new recommendations. If you do 10 appointments from now till Sunday and you implement the stuff that we're going to go, get you guys organized this morning, you should have 100 plus new people just from that. So how do we get 10 appointments from now till Saturday? We need to call some more people, right? Which we're going to have some phone time here this morning, but set yourself up. All right. So who do we have to call? So again, cell dump, your parents' cell dump, going through your initial list. Who have you not seen? Who do we need to go back to? Who do we need to look at? And then social media. I'm going to ask mom. I'm going to ask grandpa. I'm going to ask my aunt. I'm going to say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you post a status for me like this and share with them? And I would type it up. Type up what you want them to say, by the way. You can use Philippe's grandpa as an example. And I would send them both things. I would send them Philippe's grandpa, that picture as, hey, this is one of the guys did this and got a bunch of appointments off of it. Would you be willing to do this for me? And they say, yeah, of course, honey. I'm like, okay, can you put something like that and have what you want them to put for you, okay? Have what you want them to put, but have them adjust it. Say, hey, adjust this however you want. But say, oh, my niece is working with Cutco, whatever you want them to say. Most important things, you get paid just to do it, right? You can do it whether it's local or you can do it virtually if they're away. So even if they're not in the area, you can still do the appointment. And make sure that they say that it gives you credit just to do the appointment. So making sure you hit those things. But best thing is if they put a picture of you or you and them. If there's a picture of you and them together, like Buzali's mom last year put a picture of her and him, up and said, oh, my son, is working with Cutco. And I said, by the way, feel free to add whatever you want. She was like, these knives are the best. She owned them. She's like, even if you don't buy the products, it still helps him just to do the appointment. He gets credit just for doing it and making sure that you guys are, let them say whatever they want, so it's like, hey, here's an example of what to say. And I like to type up an example and give them that way they can copy paste it and they can just adjust it. And some people, one of my customers was like, can can I just post this? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I like to give an example so that the ones that don't want to think can literally just post that. And then, but I always say, hey, adjust that however you want. And the other ones can add whatever they want in there, whatever they want to say. So have a list right now. Who do you know who's over 30 who's on Facebook? Is it your best friend's mom? My best friend's mom is super active on Facebook. My mom is not. My dad is, sort of. I'd have him put up a post anyway, even though he's not super active. I'd have him do it. My grandpa is hardcore on Facebook, but definitely have my grandpa, if I was you guys, put a post up. So it's like my grandpa, I'd ask my dad too. My mom's never on there. It doesn't even matter. My best friend's mom for sure. One of my aunts is definitely on there, and I can think of a couple other friends' parents that are actively up there posting stuff, so, and they have tons of friends, like they're always liking, they get 50 plus likes, which is awesome, for somebody over the age of 30, you're like, yeah, you guys are like, I only like it if I get 100 likes, but they're fired up even if they got 20 likes. So get them. Ask them to help you out. All right. So that's one. Second thing, direct messages to all of your family's network. Right. And so Tay was saying yesterday, she's like, oh, that'll help me so much, messaging her mom and dad's friends that, dad's like, wasn't going to give her, but she can message, she can contact, and they've told her like, hey, contact whoever you want. But he just can't give them because they work at the hospital with him or whatever, and whatever was there. But she can reach out to them on social media and say, hey, it's Tay, Dr. St. Laurent's daughter, I'm working for a scholarship, and basically says, let me know if you can help me out. And that in your guys' manual, you guys have the direct message approach. You guys can make a note for those who don't know. It's on page 32 in your manual. Okay. So page 32 shows you the direct message if you're a student or if you're not a student. So can you send out 30, 40, 50 messages this morning to friends' parents? So I would send it to every single one of your friends' parents because, again, it doesn't matter where they live. Guys, rock those virtual demos. They're so easy. They're the exact same averages. You guys can be dropping bombs on virtual demos, and you can get more of them done, in less time. But make sure that you guys are getting that. So these are your direct messages. So 1, have people over 30 post a picture of you with a status. 2, message those people, your aunt, your mom, whatever, message their network saying, hey, I'm so-and-so's aunt. By the way, if they post a status first, and this is what I love, is it post a status first, right? Like have them post a status now today. Then I say, hey, I'm not sure if you saw my aunt's status, but and send them a direct message. You can message all their friends, and that's going to make it even better because they saw your face and there's already a connection because they saw your picture on their, on their friends' newsfeed, right? So I would have them post. And by the way, you don't have to wait for a status. They might never even put up a status. You can still direct message. But if I'm like, hey, do me a favor, can you put up a status? Be like, in that way I can get some more appointments with your friends. And then you guys can get those individual messages going. Cool. Third thing, you private message friends of yours to get their parents' numbers. So all the friends that you don't have the parents' numbers, you guys can message them. Olivia got a bunch of numbers last week doing that, where she went through her, and you guys have that, by the way. If you guys look at the if you guys look at West Houston Warriors or the Scholarshipers group and go in there, if you guys go into the gallery, you'll find, you just want to scroll down and you'll eventually see it's a picture of a Facebook and it's blocked out in red. So open up that picture, and she crossed out the names of the people. But in this picture, she just said, hey girl, hope everything's well for you. I have a huge favor to ask. I was wondering if you could send me your mom's number. I'm trying to win a scholarship for school. I was going to see if she'd be willing to help me out. And if you could shoot her a quick text to give her a heads up, I'd be calling. That'd be awesome. She's like, yeah, sure. Good luck with the scholarship. She gave her the number to reach her mom. So those would be probably people that she knows those people really well. The other thing is you can message, if you guys go back to page 31 in your manual, you guys, it says, hey, hope all's well. Add personalization of whatever you want to say to them. And I'm like, hey, I have a really quick question, but it's too long to type. Can I have your number so I can give you a call? So if you have people, who here has friends on social media that you don't have their phone number? Raise your hand. All your hands should be up. Because for me, I have 2,000 people on social media. I don't have all their phone numbers, okay? But you can message them and say, hey, dude, need a quick favor. Hope everything's great. Get their number. and then call them, all right? Or if you know them decent, if you want to just send a message like Olivia did, you can do that. Whatever you're comfortable with, it doesn't matter. But call them and say, hey, I need a huge favor. Like, yeah, dude, what's up? What's going on, Tina? And you're like, hey, I'm literally calling all my friends right now. I started this new job and I have a huge contest to earn a scholarship. All I have to do is this really quick presentation for people and get their opinion on something. It's pretty easy to do. All I have to do is show people over 30 that own a home. And I think your parents, I was thinking maybe your parents fit that description. I actually have to call them and personally, ask them about it. Even if they're too busy to do it, like, that's fine. It just helps me to call them and ask about it. Who's easier to talk to, your mom or your dad? Oh, cool. Let me get her number real quick. It would really help me out. And so this is, just sitting down. And again, this is the work. This is part of the getting organized. I think about, working towards a push period, working towards a big fast start, going for any big weeks, and really building this business. It's like going up a mountain. All right. It's like going uphill. So you're like collecting numbers, collecting materials, like working hard, making calls, texting people, whatever. And it's just getting organized. Like, that's the hardest part. So you're going uphill, with like a heavy, wagon or something. And it has like all this guy. And you're like, oh, okay, I gotta get this. And you're just like collecting, and you're just going uphill. And then once you start getting those appointments and setting those appointments up, and you have that base of, you don't get to the top until you have a minimum of 100 names and numbers. That's when you're at the top, and you're able to set up those demos, boom, and then it starts rolling, So you've got to work hard, and that's the hardest part, is collecting the 100 names and numbers and making sure your list is set up the right way. And once you have those 100 names and numbers, boom, it just rolls. And some of you are already there. You're like, oh, I'm ready to roll. While others of you, you're still going up that mountain right now, and that is the hardest part. But utilize these resources. If you get serious and sit down and say, okay, I'm going to spend 3 hours today just setting up, stay at the office, message people. That's all work, and that's the most important part of the work. And then you get the demos, and you're just collecting your paycheck. Because then when you go earn next week $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 next week, you freaking deserve it, because you put in the work to get that done. So I think that's really important, that you guys go through that to get that initial setup. All right. Also, other things we talked about yesterday. Do you have a church directory? All right. Do you have a school directory? Do you have any old sports rosters? All right, write those down. Not even your sports rosters, but how about your siblings? Some of my guys, like Adriano, by the way, found his old elementary school directory. And he was like, oh my gosh, I found my old Episcopal directory. I was like, nice. He's like, oh, some of these teachers love me. I'm going to hit them up. And he got some great appointments with his elementary school teachers, and he called them up. And by the way, Adriano was number 12 in the nation at 17 years old, made 25 grand his first summer. Ran a branch the next summer, was the youngest I'd ever had accepted into our entrepreneurship program. He went to Boston College. He got to meet Dr. Victoria Crittenton, who's on our academic advisor board. She's worked with us since early 2000, I believe it is. You can look at the booklet that she's in, the school booklet, but now she's at Babson. She just switched to Babson, I think, a year or two ago, so she's there now, but she had this program integrated into Boston College, and when he went there in 2012, she was still at Boston College, and got a chance to meet her, and she said, this is a program normally juniors and seniors do, the entrepreneurship internship, and he's like, I want to run my own business. I can do it. And he had just turned 18, his birthday's August 25th or something, so he had just gone to college, just turned 18, and he's just like, I want to run my own office next summer for this company. And she's like, haha, that's cute, he's like, no, I'm going to do what I need to. And he worked super hard while he was up in Boston, was involved with the marketing stuff. He was involved with his fraternity, doing stuff with business, learning, growing. And he ran his office the next summer. By the way, he was one of the top in the nation. He won the trip to Panama. And he had a chance to come to Panama with us. This year it's Costa Rica. He was like, wow, this is ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's worth the hard work, So it's like, you're working hard now, you're setting yourself up long term, put in the work. And not a lot of people have the discipline to do it. It's discouraging sometimes. And that, by the way, that's why you get paid the big bucks, because you overcome the discouraging, no one's picking up. Forget it. Yes, they will pick up. I need to call more people. I need to call whatever. They're all waiting for me. If that phone type's not going well, a good one's coming. I learned something called the fork philosophy. Okay. And this is going to be very, very big during your time with Cutco. This is huge during the push periods, and understanding that there's three things. There's going to be great demos, average demos, and crappy demos. There's going to be great phone times, average phone times, and crappy phone times. My manager used to say, you got to have a fork philosophy jam attack. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, fork philosophy jam attack. He goes, when you're going to phone jam, He's like, you got to have 3 phone times in a row. He's like, because one of them will be horrible. One of them will be average and one of them will be great. You've got to have 3 in a row. And I was like, really? He's like, yep. And so he'd always tell me, what are your 3 like back-to-back phone jams? And so for me, it was, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday night. Here, we're doing Wednesday morning. Can you make calls tomorrow, tonight, tomorrow morning? For some of you guys, it's this morning, tomorrow night. But picking 3 phone times in a row within, a day, a day period, like within those 2 days, between Wednesday, Thursday, or between Thursday, picking 3 phone times that you can hit up at different times, by the way, ideally, different waves, all right? But even if it's the same time, you're going to catch different people that you can call. But you're going to have times where you reach, like, everyone picks up. You're like, oh my God, best phone time ever. Like, you're calling and you're like, it's been an hour and you booked up 5 demos already, 6 demos, 7 demos, 8 demos, and you're like, yeah, people are picking up and you're just booking demos. All right. There's going to be some times where you're making calls and in 45 minutes, you only book 2. By the way, that's average. In 30 to 45 minutes, you book up 2 appointments, 2-3 appointments. That's the average nationally with the amount of calls that you're making and the people that you're talking to, is that in a 30 to 45 minute, you book up 2 or 3 demos. That's average. All right. Sometimes though, you'll only book 1 in 45 minutes or an hour. All right. You're like, oh, and you made 30, 40 phone calls and you booked 1 appointment because like nobody freaking picked up. It's okay. Your next phone time's coming and that's going to be like, it's all numbers. You're like, all right, 1 shitty phone time knocked out. Let's roll. All right. So same thing with your demos. Same thing with your demo days. Those of you guys in your fast start, there's, I think, 1, 2, there might be somebody here, 2 of you guys that are in your fast start, understand that you're going to have great days, average days, crappy days. When we go into the push these next weeks for those 14 days, I always like, you've got to understand that you're going to have 4 really, really shitty days. Like, they're just going to be awful. You're going to have 4 really, really amazing days. All right. And it's like, they're just awesome. 2, 3, 4, 5K days, days go phenomenal. And then you're going to have 4 very average days. All right. There's also the wild cards. There's 1 wild card in between, and there's a last day, which I always call it, the magic last day of the push. All right. And it's like where the miracles happen, where the magic happens, where I've seen people's pushes completely come together because they didn't give up until the last moment. And that leads me to my next. So 1 is, is your initial attack list. Like, are you set up for success? So part of being set up for success, before actually I go to committing to the actions, is the setup for success. So 1, the initial list, which we just talked about. 2 is are your books set up the right way? All right. So you need a recommendation binder. So this is something that you guys can buy these from us for $3. I buy them at bulk at Costco, or you can buy it at Walmart for $5. But you want it with you want it to have where you can put stuff in it. Okay. So in the front, ideally, you have something decorated. So some of you guys, have some markers. We're going to get some markers up in the house, and you can decorate something where my guys had here in the front, help me win scholarships, or help me win awards, and having like all their stuff, for whatever school they were going to, get into master's program, do this, do that. And they had like just very personalized. One of our guys will like, he went to, he was doing maritime or whatever at A&M in Galveston. And so he had like a boat that he drew, with an ocean. And then he had helped me win my scholarship. And it's just like very personalized, but people were like, oh, it's so cute. Personalize as much as you can. Mine was pretty ghetto. It just had, help me win scholarship, be my sponsor, help me win scholarships, smiley faces and like colors and stickers all around, whatever, make it personal, have fun with it. Some of my guys are super artsy and they've made some awesome, front covers. But you want this to say something about, sponsorship notebook, help me pay for school or help me win scholarships, and sponsorship notebook. So you can use this, or you can use the page of the scholarship. The 1 page, you can put it here if you want. You just want to make sure you have something for your scholarship in your blue book as well. But have something here. So whether it's something decorated or it's as simple as the actual cover of the sponsorship, it doesn't matter. I say it's better to have something personal with marker that you drew out on your own. But this is a placeholder for now. All right. So this, you guys will, some of you will decorate pretty, but I'd say, help me. And you can personalize, pay for Texas State. Maybe you have like something from Texas State for those of you guys going there. And then I had like be my sponsor. So this would be example of something ghetto, and then you can decorate it and make it super pretty. All right. So whatever. So I had like, money signs. Like this is like what mine looked like, something like this, where literally it was just like that. So it's just like, help me pay for Texas State, be my sponsor, and then had it all decorated. And that was the front of my recommendations binder. So mine was, obviously not for Texas State, it was Palm Beach Atlantic, but it was something like this. So decorate it, make it pretty, you can put pictures, you can do whatever the heck you want. All right. You can cut out, the school emblem of Texas State, right, and put it on here. And that's what I'm saying, where some people get like really creative and do really nice things. And you guys can do that at home and print stuff out today. So that you have those later. But put a placeholder at least for today, and then you can get it all pretty and decorated. Anyone who's going to be on Alliance, and I'm going to be meeting with each of you guys during the phone jam this morning and during the team meeting, getting sign-ups. Some of you guys are already like, I'm in, let's go. I need to do your skills check. I need your contract signed. If you're going to be on 10K Alliance, we're meeting at my house on Saturday. We have a 100-call jam Saturday at 4 p.m. starting at my house. We're going to have dinner there. We're going bowling afterwards, all right? But that's going down for our 10K Alliance. So help me pay for Texas State. Then inside, what we need to have here. So one is we're gonna have a page protector. All right. So I love page protectors, but you're gonna have a page protector, and hopefully it doesn't look like this and it's straight, but I just grabbed one that was all messed up there. But you're gonna have a page protector with this right here with your thought joggers. Can you make your own thought jogger? You guys are live? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. You can make your own. This is one that one of my top guys who averaged close to 30 recommendations per appointment, Donovan Taylor. All right. It was like, I don't know, like 26 or 27 recommendations per appointment when he tracked his stuff, that he made this one for himself. And then he put some other things, but having, that thought jogger in the front, all right, of your sheet. So having that there. So I have, help me win scholarships. Also this, your coaching sheet, all right, coaching sheet. And if you have, if you're doing it a different way, you can have, can you grab cups? Can you grab everything, Austin, for that? But on here, putting your, by the way, do you need to use this? No, mine was, again, ghetto like this with a marker, and it said, tell them about me, and all in colors. It had like, goes to Kathy Vasquez, international business at Palm Beach Atlantic University, gets paid to show cut code, trying to win a scholarship, no obligation to buy, gets credit just to show. Would you be willing to help her out? Please don't say selling knives to pay her way through school. Do you need knives? Don't talk about prices. I just want nice people to do appointments with. And that's what mine said. And it was like all super colorful. I had dots everywhere. And guys, to give you an example of what I'm talking about when I like decorated things, I will give you an example of my sponsorship sheet from my blue book. All right. This was, where's my sponsorship sheet? All right. So it's just like random little dots of markers everywhere, right? And just like colored, decorated, like whatever. But I just wanted it like to be personal, like my forever page, all right? All our stuff is guaranteed forever. There's like colors everywhere, and I just like made that just to put next to my testimonials. So I'm like, oh, our stuff's guaranteed forever. I don't know if I told you that, they just like laugh. And I stole that from someone. That is not a Kathy original. That was Henry Weinecker. I went field training in North Carolina with one of the best reps who was crushing it. And I flew up there and watched him do his demo. He was like top All-American. And we had met at a conference, and I was like, oh, I want to go up there. And so I trained with the managers up there, shadowed them for a couple of days, went and cross-trained, and it was awesome. Like we just had James Rushing and Jonathan went and cross-trained with Jason Jeffries, one of the best top people in the nation, Hall of Fame members. They went like a couple weeks ago over to, I believe he's in Arizona, and cross-trained with him over there. But the top guys will go cross-train and they'll fly to go somewhere and watch. So you guys can just field train here. But that's something the top guys will do, is go cross-train in other places. So then I had my testimonials there. So just, you can personalize it. This is just because I had my personal one, and people are like, how do you get so many recs? How do you get all these on-the-spot appointments? Because my goal was to never leave a demo without replacing it, and I wanted to leave with more demos than when I went in. So I wanted 2 or more ahead of me since I went in. How did I get that? I had my customer call their top 3 to 5 people. I utilized the peeler to help get me yeses on the spot. And that'll be a workshop that I'll be running with you guys later, is just having them. And I mentioned it yesterday at SLDM, but just having them call the top couple people and saying, hey, I have this kid here working hard for a scholarship, and letting them know what I was up to. So fill in your personal stuff. I would put this on the back. This is where I'd have it, is on the back of your binder. All right. So you want to have on the front of your binder, you have this. On the back of your binder, you have this. That way you can just give it to the customer when they're calling people. I'm like, hey, make sure to let them know, like when they're calling the top people, you have it right there, okay? So I like to have it all together here. We have the coaching sheet. And then, guys, you need to have your recommendation sheets. Now, your recommendation sheets, you've got to set them up for success, all right? So we're going to do this, and we're gonna all work on this here in a couple minutes, or I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. But you want to highlight 10, 20, 30. Maybe you put a sticker next to 10, 20, 30. Maybe you take a marker and, you make a mark it even further, like on 10. So for me, on 10, and I don't see an actual marker, but I always put on 10, I put an arrow, so whether it's a sticker or an arrow, I put an arrow pointing to 10, all right? Then on 20, I put a smiley face, all right? Do you have to do what I do? No, but you need something. And I put stars on 30 because I wanted them to shoot for the stars. And that's what I used to say, all right? So I had an arrow, I had a smiley face, I had stars, all right? And I had this on all my papers. So you want to put all your papers. And by the way, I used to do a notebook. That was in my notebook. And then I switched to, recommendation binder. But you want to have this, 10, 20, 30. And then it says, ask how you can get a free peeler. Because I used a free peeler to have them call their top people. And as long as I was getting, for me, it was 3 or more yeses. But even for the one that was like, I'll call them later, if they got me 2 yeses, all right, what does a yes mean? They called them and said, hey, Tina's working for a scholarship. She gets paid to do it. Would you be willing to help her out? Okay, awesome. Yeah, she's right here. Hold on. Boom. And I called them and I said, thank you so much for being willing to help me out. Yeah, I'm working so hard for my contest. I actually haven't hit my goal for today. I know it's last minute, but by chance, is there any way that I could swing by real quickly today? I have an opening at 7:30, or would 9:30 work better? Oh, 7:30 works? Awesome. Thank you so much. Or, hey, I could head over right now when I leave Tina's house. I have an opening before my next appointment that I could come swing by real quick, or I could do tomorrow morning. What works better for you? Oh, yeah, we're home now. You want to come over? Yeah, sure, head over. And I'd head over right to an appointment, or I'd set them up for the next day. All right. So yeses were people that they called and basically said this to, and they said, yeah, absolutely, we'll help Olivia, no problem. And I was watching them when they were on the phone because I wanted to talk, and I'm like, hey, if they can talk now, I'd love to talk to them now and just set them up. That way I don't have to try to get a hold of them later. So I would just be like this. I'm like, and they're like, you know what? Hey, Zyla's right here. Hold on. Let me pass you to her. And you're like, oh, hey, thank you so much. All you say is thank you, what you're working for. Hey, I still haven't hit my goal for blank day. Still have a spot at blank, or would blank be better? It would help me out so much, And again, I always reference, hey, I know this is out of the blue, or hey, I know this is super short notice because we just totally caught him off guard. I'm like, but I hadn't hit my goal, and I want to see if there's any chance you could squeeze me in real quick at blank time, or would blank time be better? It would help me out so much. All right. So make sure that we're doing that. So we want to set these all up. So we're going to hole punch these, okay? And these will all be hole punched, and they're going to be in my book. So every single recommendation sheet should look like this that's in your book. Cool? Every single one. Next step of setting this up is one sheet needs to be completely full. If you guys want to get triple, quadruple, quintuple sponsors, and maybe you have one that's 2 sheets are full of the same person because it's your family friends that you guys wrote down on page 21 and 22. So everyone that you had on page 21 and 22, all those people that I would write all their names down. And for some of you guys, it's going to fill out 2 sheets. Some of you guys, it'll fill out more. I'll only let you count up to 5 times from your initial list for the sponsorship page, okay? So that's it. No, I'm not going to let you count after 5. But if you had 50 or more names and numbers in your initial list, all right, you can put 5 times here your parent's name, your family name, or whatever. They came from people that you guys know, write them down 5 times, all right? But after that, if you have like 100 names and number, I'm not going to let you put, 10, unless your mom actually wrote down or gave you 100 names and numbers. Your mom gave you those, and you can put your mom's name 10 times, okay? But basically, how does this, or can someone tell me how this works? Any of the newer guys, not the assistants, can anyone tell me how this works?
For every 10 references you get.
Hold on. Sorry, Drew, what'd you say?
For every 10 references that you get from your appointment, you get to write down 1 signature. If you have 20, it's double sponsor.
Right, so if they write down 20 names, they're a double sponsor. If they give you 30 names, they're a triple sponsor. If they give you 40 names, they're a quadruple sponsor, okay? So every 10 names, they're a sponsor. So here's how, by the way, this is also in the gallery, and I'm going to test you guys on how to explain the sponsorship. If you guys go to the gallery, in the West Houston Warriors, I show how to explain the sponsorship. So it's in here somewhere. And I'll repost it again, and I'll repost it in the Scholarshipers group in case anyone wants to know how we explain the sponsorship here. This is the sponsorship I've always used. I know there's some people that use different ones. All right, but I'm going to put here save image. So it says, let me show you how the sponsorship works, okay? So you explain whatever the heck you're doing, all right? You've explained it to them. So we've got this is going to go in your blue book, all right? You want the signatures to go in your blue book because we're going to set up your blue books. That's another part of your setup. So we're getting your initial list. We're setting up your recommendation binder, and then we're setting up your blue book. Your blue book should have all your personal goals in the front, okay? Mine is missing some things because I lent it to people to use over the years, and I lost stuff. Some stuff I've tried to replace, and it looks kind of ghetto. But scholarship was a really big thing. I always had the scholarship first. I always like to show that. I had a picture of myself taped on it until I was in it. And then when I was in it, I was like, oh, that's me. And they're like, oh, my gosh. I was like, yeah, I want to win another one. All right. And showing them, but just tape a picture of yourself. It just makes it fun. All the guys I've coached, they've done that, or they've taped a picture of themselves here. Like Sarah Law just took she took like a baby picture and put it here, but whatever picture. Mike Arrieta, like just cut out a picture of yourself and put it on the front of the scholarship thing. Just tape it on there or glue it on there. Just makes them laugh. They're like, oh, that's me. You know, I'm like, well, not yet, but like, I'm going to get there. I want to get there. All right. But it just ties them into it. It makes it fun. It makes it like the more fun, the more you make them smile, the more you make them laugh. Guess what? The more they want to help you, the more they want to be a part of that process, and the more they see that you take it serious. So tape a picture of yourself there. As silly as it sounds, tape a picture of yourself in the front here and let your customers know that's my goal. I want to be a top All-American. All right. Be like, oh, that's when I won #1. Be like, I'm just kidding. I started 2 weeks ago, but I want to be at the top. All right. Thank you for helping me get one step closer. So tie them in to why this helps you. Be like, yeah, by winning a scholarship, I'm able to put on my resume that I was one of the top 50 in the nation out of 40,000 students. You know, I have a chance to stand out on my resume. I have an opportunity to earn management internships, entrepreneurship internships, different positions with the company that can help me, you know, for the future. And that's something that I'd be really excited about, you know. So sharing with them, you know, what you're pumped about, what you want to gain. So I had the academic advisory board. There's Dr. Victoria Crittenton that I was telling you guys has been around forever on our board in Boston College, and now she's at Babson. So this is like very old and falling apart. But these people are still around, by the way. Dr. Peterson, anyone who goes to UT Austin, go meet him this fall. He's been on our board since 1988, by the way, with Cutco Vector. Absolutely loves this program and what it does for people and what they learn. So those are just cool things. I like to share that with my customers because, one, it made it legit for them, but it also showed them what I was working for. I was talking to Bahara yesterday from HTX, and you know, she sold over $6,000 her first weekend. And by the way, she sold, I've seen people sell over $6,000 their first weekend off like 5 sales, right? That was like Adriano Diaz, that was Caterina Cicena, like 2 complete sets, homemaker, starter set, you know, whatever. They sold $6,000. Bahara, just so you know, this weekend she turned in 17 order forms. 17 order forms. I was talking to Jordan last night about that. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. All right, that is working the job, all right? And she was just working it. And yes, she went through stuff closing bigger. She's like, oh, this is really gonna help me, you know, close. She's like, with the bigger set sales and everything. But, you know, she was just grinding, man. And she's like, yeah, I just share with them what I'm doing, and like everybody gets something. But now I'm like, okay, we'll use this stuff because now you'll be able to close at a much higher level. But she sold $6,000. She had 17 sales, all right? She was grinding. She was working the numbers, all right? By the way, Peter Cordell, his first weekend, you know, he didn't have a great average order. People are like, oh, he has great people to see. Yeah, he does have great people to see, but he wasn't closing big, all right? His average order was very average, all right? It was right on 400 something bucks. But you know what? Peter turned in over 13 orders for his first 2 days on the job. All right. He was grinding appointments. And I think about, you know, that's how I did so well when I started. I didn't have a huge average order when I started, but I had a lot of people to see, and I got a lot of recommendations, and I just outworked everybody. All right. So for some of you that don't have killer hour, and by the way, we're going to help you with your average order. We're going to help you increase that. But if I'm you, I'm committing to the amount of demos, and I'm just grinding those appointments out. Because if you do 40 appointments in the 2-week period, you should sell $10,000. If you do 40 appointments, the statistics show that out of those 40 nationally, you'll have 25 sales. Okay. 25 sales. If you guys look at 25 sales and just do math and you say, okay, $10,000, okay, divided by 25 sales. All right, that's $400. National average is like 327. GCK over 450. You're right in that middle between those two. So the average is showing, by the way, and that was with using 25 sales out of 40, where most of GCK will sell 30 out of 40, by the way. All right. And if you sell 30 out of 40, even with the national average, that's $10,000. Now, I don't train my guys to be average. My alliance is not going to be average. We're going to be working together every single morning, starting next Tuesday, to set up whoever's going to be a part of that, to set you guys up for success. We have workshops running every single day to give you guys the skills that you need. Do you have to come every day? No. 10K Alliance, I want you 5+ mornings, if not every morning, coming to the morning workshops. Those who are on 6K Alliance, we expect to see you guys 3 or 4 out of the and basically for the whole time, 9 mornings out of the 14 days is what we expect to see those on the 6K Alliance. Out of the 14 days, we expect to see you guys 9 of those times. And if somebody is on the 3K Alliance, coming at least 2 of the mornings, but really being focused on 6+ times that they come on those 2.5 weeks. But if you want to do well, be here every morning. If you're here every morning, you're going to succeed at a really high level, or as many mornings as you can. It's 2 freaking weeks. All right. I do it twice in the year. We do it here and we do it for Super Bowl, and it's something that's going to benefit you so much. So think about it as boot camp. Think about it as 3-a-days, like that. Like I played sports. We had 3 weeks of preseason, 3-a-days. We went and run at 5 a.m., worked out, and we were going all day. So think about it like that. It's not the entire summer. It's 2 weeks, to go out and grind, and it's going to benefit you at the highest level, right? So having your sales competitions. On Monday, you're going to get all your push thermometers and everything, and we'll put that in. But besides the push period and what's happening currently, you also want your campaign goal, all right? So this is a new one. Mine was totally full, obviously, and someone took it to make their own, and I never got it back, so I just made a ghetto one. But I had one that looked just like this, and it just had a thermometer with the amount of demos I wanted to complete for the summer to win a scholarship, and I had my sales goals to sell $50,000, all right, which I sold $48,000 that summer, and I was number 19 in the nation. This summer it will take over $50,000 to win a scholarship. All right, that's usually what it takes, especially nowadays. But I had the amount of demos, I had the amount of sales, and so I said, hey, this summer my goal is to win a scholarship. It's going to take $50,000 in sales. If you just want to write me a check for $50,000, that would be awesome. Then I can just chill at the beach the rest of the summer. I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be working hard no matter what. But keep a lookout. I'm like, there's some awesome stuff. I was like, if there's any gifts that you buy anyway for Christmas, if you do, packages for people, birthday gifts, wedding gifts. If there's stuff coming up for weddings, keep a lookout. I said, because I'm going to make sure you get hooked up, and it helps me out so much for my contest, And by the way, guys, in July, and you can get them thinking earlier, has anyone ever heard of Christmas in July?
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about that. That's not just a thing we made up. I grew up listening to that on the radio, on the Christian radio. You guys can look at even Groupon will have stuff, and you'll get different, messages if you're, they'll say Christmas in July specials, whatever. And it's just getting people thinking about buying their holiday gifts early. And so we have a lot of sales with that too. And I'm like, hey, I don't know if you ever do Christmas in July specials. We're doing Christmas in June. I'd be like, no, but I have this big competition now. So if you can do it now instead of July, I'm going to make sure you get hooked up with some big sales. All right. So a lot of people do a lot of holiday shopping early to get ahead, and some people do want to finance it or put it on layaway or do whatever. And so, with us, they can put it on 5Pay and have it paid off before the holiday season gets crazy. All right. So that's something to just kind of plan ahead. So you'll have your push goals. And so after all my sales stuff, then I have my sponsorship. And I'm like, hey, this is my sponsorship. This has nothing to do with sales. I'll show you how you can be a sponsor later. And that's it. Oh, there's your friend Julie. Oh, there's your friend Josie. Oh, there's your friend Manny. I'll show you how you can be a sponsor later. And so I always point to whoever it is. And then, I share with them about the company. And so I always talk about giving back. I talk about the company and the history and everything. And so you guys will have that and you'll have your book. If you want to tear your book up like I did and put it in Page Protectors, cool. Bring Page Protectors on Saturday night to my house. Or, some of you guys might come to Breakfast Club Saturday morning. Bring any of these mornings. You can bring Page Protectors with you, and we can help you organize, the front and get your goals all in there. But by Saturday, we need to make sure everyone's books are completed so that you're ready to rock for the push and you're not taking time to map out stuff during the push. During the push, you are what? Pushing. This is prep week. This is momentum week. This is build your base. This is get your attack list. This is get 100 to 200 new recommendations from your appointments this week so that on Sunday you have a huge list of people. By the way, those of you who are newer, you don't touch recommendations you don't know until you have over 100 and you've passed your skills check. You've got to pass your skills check, which we're going to be doing everyone's skills checks. All right. So that's really big. So again, rewind. Number one, attack list, right? For preparation. Number two is your rec binder set up the right way. You need to have a cover sheet. You need to have the thought jogger. You need to have a coaching sheet for the customer. You want to have your recommendation sheets with marked targets. You need to have some that are already filled out. Maybe you have some names that are like 3 on this page, 5 on this page. Combine them and make them one page. Just have something to point to. And you just say, hey, when you fill out a full sheet like this, you'd sign 3 times. When you fill out, and so because when you explain the sponsorship, this is what we want to do is we want to show the proof. And so this is what I was showing you guys, or what I was going to show you guys on the group meet, all right, is the actual explanation of how I explain the sponsorship and how I coach my guys to explain the sponsorship. So we'll repost it. But you're like, hey, let me show you how the sponsorship works, all right? When I get 50 sponsors, so I have my my blue book, you know, open to the sponsorship page because I just flip back to the page that's here. So I go, hey, so Ms. Smith, let me show you. So I go back, I sign whatever goals, and then I say, hey, let me show you how the sponsorship works, all right? All right, so after we sign our sales goals and stuff. And I'm like, so how this works is, you know, so you explain, so I get paid every time I show cut codes, you ask for your approach. But then when you explain the sponsorship, you go, so look, how the sponsorship works is when I get 50 sponsors, I get a $150 award. Cool? All you have to do to be a sponsor is write down 10 names. So if you fill out, and this is where you show the proof, okay? So you want to have those sheets filled out because this is where I go, so if you fill out a full sheet like Julie did, you would sign 3 times. Or if you fill out a full sheet like this, if you haven't had anyone that does it, if you have a full sheet like this, you would sign 3 times. If you get to 20 and you flip and you point, you get to 20 like Mariana did, you would sign twice. You know, and even if you only get to 10 like she did, you'd sign once. And when I get all 50 signatures, I get the $150 award. Cool? Here's a couple sheets, and I always hand them 2 sheets with marked targets. And I'm like, hey, here's a couple sheets. Jot down as many as you can. Is it cool if I use a sync? And then I'm going to go clean and organize. All right? So always handing them that. But you want to show the proof. They want to see what everyone else has done. And this is what I was saying, that when we set up Alan Melendez's book last year, and he was getting just a couple each time. This happened the same thing with Karina in Miami. I remember she was getting like 4 recommendations for appointment. Once we set that up and we role played how to explain the sponsorship properly, which we're going to do and make sure you guys have that down and you feel really comfortable explaining it. Her next demo, you know, she's like, she got a sponsor and she's like, never again she ever got less. She like raised her sponsorship to 15 recommendations for her appointment. She's like, I just raised it because they always want to be my sponsor. So I decided I'm going to use 15. I was like, do whatever you want. But I will pay for your stuff as long as they're getting you 10 or more. They'll count for a sponsor. If you want to use a higher number, you know, that's on you. But every 10 recommendations. So we did this. Alan Melendez's next demo. We're gonna take a break in a second. The next demo, he got 30. You know, full page. The next demo, he got 30. Full page. The next demo, he got 60. They filled out 2 pages. And so in my approach, I also say, oh, hey, if you fill out 2 sheets, by the way, I always hand them 2 sheets, and I go, hey, by the way, if you fill out 2 sheets, you go into my favorite customer book. If you only fill out 1, like, no, I'm just kidding. Jot down as many as you can. All right. But always hand 2 blank sheets with marked targets. That makes a big impact. All right. So that is recommendations book set up for success. All right. Blue book set up for success is you need to have your goals in the front, thermometers, goals, things you're working for. A bonus, by the way, which anyone who I'm coaching for 10K, I want to get this done. And so we have the next 5 days to make sure we do it. Print out photos, print out pictures about yourself, print out school, you know, the Aggies, your school that you're going to at A&M, you know, the business school, whatever, you know, whatever school you're in, whatever school you want to get into, there's a boat, there's whatever. And I want you guys to think about, and we're going to do an exercise about, you know, long-term vision. And we're going to do this together, by the way, to set up for the push in terms of goals, mindset. We're going to be doing a workshop this week to set you guys up the right way to make sure we're ready for the push period. But we're going to have a vision exercise. And this is something you guys can start doing on your own and thinking about. but there is, and I can send you actually a video of one of my best friends doing this while he was knocking off one of his dreams lists over, I think he was in Thailand when he did the video, but it was from his dreams list, and going through and thinking about what are all the things that you want to accomplish. Last page in your manual, page 37, this to me is one of the coolest parts. This is what will wake your butt up in the morning, you know, for me. It's like what I was doing right now, how it tied into my future, what I want to do, where I wanted to go, the money I wanted to have saved, the future I wanted to create, and sharing this with customers. So basically we're going to do this page, all right, and you're actually going to get pictures of all this stuff. And you're going to make a little vision board. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of a vision board. Raise your hand, all right? So we're going to make a vision board. And we're just going to do a vision page, all right? You can make a vision board at home. Those are super crazy powerful. We'll have an entire workshop just on that and the power of envisioning, you know, your goals and dreams and putting those into reality. But you're going to have a vision page, and that's going to be in your blue book, all right? This is very advanced, by the way, but it's so powerful. So all the pictures, all right, of the things that you want to do. Do you have something like that?
Yeah.
Let me see what you have.
It looks like this. I have my little two thermometers for weekly. So I put in a page protector so that I can go over it with expo markers. So I can show my customers like, okay, I've done 7 demos this week. I have 3 more to go to hit my
Cool.
goal.
So you have like a weekly tracker that you have there. Awesome. What else does it say on there?
So it starts out, it's kind of like chronological order of like starting next fall, Texas
Mhm.
A&M, studying, and how Vector ties into, you know, my long-term goal of, you know, starting in
Nice. All right. That's awesome. So that, by the way, I would have that with it. And by the way, in addition to that, I would do something else too that has travel goals, has a picture of like a happy family. Like if you want to get married and have a family, has a house, has got all these things, and say, hey, this is what like long term, like I want to have a beautiful home like you have. Like I want to be able to travel the world. These are places I want to travel to. These are things I want to do, you know, professionally, like, and then take it to right now. So it's like you want to show like this page will be more long term. All right. So all your long term things of, again, travel, adventure, educational, master's programs, your family, boat, house, whatever it is that you're excited about for your, what does your future look like, right? What are all the things you're doing? What are things? And then that page is amazing of tying it back to, so here's why I'm doing this now. I'm going to A&M. I want to get this. I want to have my engineering firm. And so by working hard and winning this scholarship and doing this or hitting this weekly goal, it's going to help me on pace to do that. So I'm able to do all these things. Because by having that engineering firm, by hitting those goals, what is that going to allow you to do? Create the lifestyle that you want for your family, right? The travel, like what is it? Why do you want to have that engineering firm? What do you want to do? Live comfortably. What does that look like? So jotting those things down. By the way, is there something, a certain in your head, something that you'd like to create or build? Some, by the way, some of my guys, they're like, there's something with robotics and they wanted to create or they want to, and so putting things like that and like putting pictures of like, or I want to build a bridge one day and do that, you know, like whatever you're doing, the more specific you can be with something that you'd be excited about accomplishing or doing in the future. And then maybe it's just like solving some big problem, or I don't know, coming out with like a breakthrough in medical, you know, technology, or, you know, and just like having something that says like breakthrough, you know, medicine, be like, I'd be so excited about, you know, working at some of my guys, like working in the lab and coming out with, you know, yada, yada, yada. But just the more specific you can be, guys, the better it is. So it's like, this is me. This is who I am. These are my passions. This is what I want for my family, for my future. This is why I'm working so hard now in school, is to create that. Because why do people go to school? Why do you go to school? You tell me, why do you go to school? Because it's so fun? No. All right, some of you guys might like school. Cool. I wanted to get out of school ASAP, all right? I had no desire to be in school. I like the social aspect, but I was like, I'm good. I can learn everything I need to learn online. There's online universities. I can study from Harvard online, okay? I don't need to be in school. It was such a waste of time for me. I just get really antsy, and I've got ADD, and I hated being in a freaking classroom. I like need to be out there. I need to be doing stuff, all right? But I know, why do you go to school? You get a degree, so you can get a good job. And even nowadays, guys, a degree does not get you a good job. Do you guys know that? It does not get you a good job. Last year, like it's connections. It's who you know and your experience. It's those first impressions. They meet you and they're like, I want to work with this kid, like this is someone I want to partner up with. And now more and more, it's connections of who you know, the skill sets you have, that like, how do you present yourself? It's your communication skills, your confidence, and who you know. This job, you get to work on all of those. You get to network. You get to ask for people in those circles. You get to work on your communication skills. You get to work on all those skills to set you up. That's why I have not had one person leave Cutco that has gone through my program, one senior graduate, or people who didn't even graduate college and not land the job, the internship, get into the grad school, or start the company they wanted to start because of what they gained here. All right, and they are untouchable. They are so much more marketable than anybody. All right, even without a degree, by the way, my guys are way more marketable than guys who have a degree. And they look at that. In Fortune 500 companies, they look at that like a degree's great, but they're a diamond. Like everyone has them now. All right, and there's not that many jobs. The job market is tighter, and so it's like, what makes you stand out? There's 50 engineers applying for this same firm, that's really good, that everyone wants to work for, all right? And every single one of them did internships with an engineering firm, and every single one of them went to a top school and studied this, and every single one of them, you're not the only engineering guy from A&M applying for blank job. And it's not just from there. Oh, there's guys that are applying from there from Wharton School of Business, and there's people applying from the engineering firm over whatever, in Yale, in Harvard, at MIT, at different schools around that are all applying for the same freaking jobs. Why you? How do you stand out? Because when they're looking even at good resumes, but they all look the same. I talked to Laura, one of my girls, Laura, about this. She went to one of the top private schools in the nation, by the way, for high school, Ransom Everglades. It's a big preparatory school. They filmed wild things there. They film Abercrombie commercials all the time there. School is unreal. All right, I think it's like $40,000 a year to go to that school, high school. Okay, it's unreal. And that might be exact. I think it might be 25, 30 grand, but it is. It's one of the most expensive schools nationally. One of the best preparatory schools nationally. That's in Coconut Grove, Miami. All right, it's absolutely ridiculous. So she goes to top school. She does internships at the law firms, right? She does debate. She does everything, right? She wants to be a lawyer. She does all the things you're supposed to do. She goes to a top school, and she works with me in her undergrad before she went to law school at UM. And I said, Laura, do you really think you're the only law student who was top of their class, who did debate, who interned at a law firm? Every single person who wanted to be a lawyer, who really thought about their future, did that. They were all in debate. They all interned at the law firm. They all did that. Why you? What sets you apart? What sets that apart? All right. Well, what sets you apart is when they're looking through, they go, wait, what? What did you do? You sold knives? By the way, she experienced this, and she shared it. She's like, oh my God, it was awesome. She's like, everybody was like, what? Right, because it stands out. It's different. They're like, well, why'd you do that? If you were going to be a lawyer, and she was asked this, by the way, they said, if you were going to be a lawyer, why were you selling? Like, why did you spend time doing this? One interview, by the way, said, why did you waste your time selling knives, as you were preparing for law school? And she goes, well, actually, what I learned there was real life skills of negotiation, interpersonal skills, learning connection so that people trust me and they're going to listen to me. And when I'm working with clients, when I'm representing people, I need them to be able to trust me. I need to be able to build rapport with their family, with friends, with people. I need to be able to present ideas in a courtroom with confidence. I need to be able to be persuasive. I need to understand, like, I'm selling myself, or I'm selling whatever perspective I have to that entire courtroom on why this is the right decision. And she goes on, and the guy was just like, oh, she goes, so I think the question is more like, why would I not do something like that would set me apart and give me real life skills, confidence, networking, and really set me apart from everybody else? Because like you just saw, it's different than everything else you've seen in an application, and I learn skills I'm going to use every day. And she's like, so, yeah, drop the mic. All right. Everyone she interviewed, she's like, oh my God. She's like, my law firm, and then she was working with a law firm. She's like, I'm going to make partners so quick. They love me. She goes, I always use all my stuff. She's like, I always use all my phone time stuff. I always offer 2 times. I'm like, is this time good or is this time better? My schedule's always booked. I'm like, let me see what I can do. Let me check my schedule. And she's like, I use all the stuff you taught me, Kat. It's awesome. And my partner's like, you're so good on the phone. You're so good with this. And she's like, I know. She goes, it's my knife job. I learned that all with my knife job. All right. She did. Like, she learned organization, time management, appointment setting, rapport building, all that. Like, she learned that here. all right? And she learned those things here that she uses every day now, you know, in the field, all right? She actually just, she stopped practicing law. She practices law on the side now, but she like she's like, I'm gonna have my own company. She's like all into holistic healing, yoga, you know, does law on the side, but now she's like a yoga instructor down. I'm like, what? Yeah, and so she's like, she made a lot of money. She set herself up. Yeah, and this was a decade ago, you know, but she set herself up and she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill, you know, teach yoga, whatever. But like, she's gonna need that balance from the crazy law world, you know. And then that's what she loves and she's passionate about and she's doing now. All right. So anyway, guys, just, you know, you want to think about long term. This job, right? So what does everything look like long term? Where are all the places you want to go, things you want to see, things you want to do? You know, put those all on here because that's cool for them to get to know you. And guess what it does? Every time you open your book, you're tired. You're on your 7th demo of the day and you're like, oh my God, I got to give 110% energy right now. All right. And you didn't take your Ignite, you know, for that midday crash. All right. You guys right there, you want to be like, okay. All right. When you open that book, and I would have that before the scholarship, by the way, like someone take mine, and you open your book and you're like, hey, let me tell you a little bit about me. When you see those things, what happens? You get excited because they're the things that you're like fired up about. That boat, that house, that like going and doing that crazy hike in Australia, going and doing like, it fires you up. And I remember every time I shared, like, Miss Jones, like, I want to travel when I'm in London. Like, I want to study abroad. And I had pictures of London and Big Ben and, you know, stuff from Parliament, everything over in London because I was going to study abroad that fall. And that's what I was excited about, was raising money to be able not to just go study abroad, but to travel. And I had things of, like, Rome and Greece and Paris and Germany. And, like, I had places I wanted to go. I said, Miss Jones, like, my goal is to study abroad. And, like, I want to travel. Like, I want to travel. I want to be able to experience the world. My family's never been able to travel. Like, we never had the funds to do anything like this. My family can't even afford for me to go study abroad. I have to pay for it. So I'm working so hard this summer so I can pay for my study abroad and I can go see the world and not just learn it in a book, but like experience it and get a chance to see these things, see the Colosseum and really learn about history and see it firsthand. You know, go to Greece and go up to the Acropolis. I've been studying Greek mythology and Greek since I was in 5th grade. We had this whole curriculum in my honors classes in elementary school that we studied Greek mythology, and we had like a day that we had like we made togas out of, you know, bed sheets, and we like all had Greek food, and we drew like little hieroglyphic things, and I don't know. And I just remember being like 10 years old, and I was like, I want to go to Greece. I was like, I wanted to go there since I was 10 years old. My parents just went, you know, for their 20th anniversary, and there was a gift that was provided to them, you know, through their job. Like, I really want to go there, and I'm like, so I'm just so excited. I'm like, where have you traveled to? Where have you gone? What's your favorite place? And they're like, oh my gosh, you got, you know, and then they share and they get, boom, connection. And they're so stoked to help you get a chance to experience what they've gotten to experience. And they're like, if you go here, you need to go to, I'm going to tell you where you need to go. Has anyone had that happen where people like recommend places? If you're sharing your goals and things you want to do, they're like, girl, you go there. I'm just telling you, you want to go to this cafe in this corner. People go to London. I'm like, you got to go to El Pirata. You need to order this. It's hiding behind the Ritz-Carlton. It's by Buckingham Palace. You want to go here for this nightlife. You want to go to this bar. It's unreal. I love it. Like, you're going to experience the goals. Like, there's places. Like, when I was going to Budapest, my cousin had gone there. She's like, Kathy, it's one of the best places I've ever gone to. I'm like, Budapest? When I went, I was like, I would live here. It's one of the coolest cities I've ever been to in Hungary. And she and my cousin goes, go to this restaurant to eat, go to this place to watch the sunset and have a glass of wine. Good. And she gave me, and I went to all those places and I was like, oh my God, it was unreal. And then when other people have gone, I passed it on. I'm like, go here, go there. So it excites people. So for people, if you have a customer that likes to travel, boom, like they're going to connect with me because I love to travel. Giving back, you know, sharing. I want to give back 10% of everything I make. And my goal is to give blank amount. I want to raise a brick, right, for Haiti. Or I want to give to battered women. You know, one of my girls had an organization with battered women. She wanted to give a certain amount of money to that summer. You know, like, so what are your contribution goals? You know, what are your travel goals? What are your educational goals? All those things. You want to think about those things and share that with customers. That's where you're going to get your customers are like, that is freaking awesome. This kid is freaking awesome. Like, I want to be a part of this journey. Okay, so you want to crush your push, you want to crush your summer, you want to crush your experience with us. Share with your customers who you are and where you want to go, you know, and get them tied into being excited about being a part of that process. When people 30 to 60 meet young people who are focused, motivated, goal driven, guess what? They're excited to be a part of that journey. Okay, so this morning we want to get set up. So we have the rec binders we need to set up. We need to work on attack list. Right now is great. Still great phone time between 7:30 and 9 a.m. You catch the most people. So we're gonna take a little bit of time to make calls, and then at 9:30 we'll start working on stuff before we kick off the team meeting. But I want to take time for you guys to make phone calls, grab some coffee, grab whatever, and start getting organized, transferring your names over. But I would rock at least 15, 20 calls real quick, okay? Today, anybody who has 2 demos is gonna go into a drawing for a piece of Cutco. We're gonna be giving away pieces of Cutco to add to your guys' kit so that you're able to sell more stuff. Every demo after 2 is an extra drawing. So if you have 3, you have 2 drawings. You have 4, you have 3 drawings. So 2 demos gets you in the drawing, and every demo after 4 2-day, Wednesday demos is gonna get you guys in that. So when you're on the phone now, wherever you're making calls, you want to say, hey, Miss Jones, I know this is really short notice, but I actually still hadn't hit my goal for today. And I was wondering if there's any chance you could squeeze me in last minute at blank or blank time, all right? So by the way, just so you guys know what's happening today, from now till 1 p.m., so you guys know, team meetings from 10 to 1. There's phone calls that we're going to be happening. We're going to be getting organized. I'm going to kick off the team meeting with all the things that are happening, upcoming. During that time, though, I'm going to be grabbing you guys, anyone who I know already has talked to me about wanting to be at 10K Alliance, and then I'm just going to be meeting with each of you guys to see, are you looking to be on 3K, 6K, 10K? What number are you excited about being, what group, what commitment of time? If you're going for 3K, how many demos is that? Anyone remember who was here on Sunday? If you're going for 3K, 15 in the 2 weeks. You are committing, I will do 15 appointments in the 2-week period. All right, that's an average of 7 or 8 a week. That's it. But you are committing to 15 appointments so you can sell $3,000 plus in the 2-week period. All right, that is a 3K Alliance, and you're coming 2 mornings a week minimum. Then, if you're going for 6K, what is the number that you're committing to in demos for the 2-week period? 30 demos. You're like, I'm committed to 30 demos no matter what. That's 15 demos a week. I will get 15 demos a week. I will fight for 15 demos a week. I will have 30 demos in the 2-week period around school, summer school, my other job, whatever you have going on. And then 10K are the people who have a more open schedule, who are like, hey, I'm going to open up my schedule. I am committed to completing a minimum of 20 demos a week. I will commit 20 demos, 4 days of 5 demos or more. And really, when I coach people for 10K, I'm like, can you do 5 a day? 5 a day, every day or more. Can you pick 2 days to blitz? I know I talked to Chavez setting up his push, and he's like, hey, these days, he's like, 2 days a week, I'm going to blitz and I'm going for 10 demos. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I'm just going to start at like 7 a.m. I'm going to go to like midnight. I'm just going to make sure I'm asking for those early morning appointments, for those late night appointments, and also virtuals. He's like, I'm going to add virtuals in there too. Because if you have someone who knows someone on the West Coast, in Oregon, in Washington, in California, guess what? A midnight demo is 10 p.m. over there. An 11 p.m. demo is 9 p.m. over there. At 7 a.m., a demo and a virtual on the East Coast, it's 8 a.m. over there. Even you could do a 6 a.m. The guy who broke the national record, he was doing 5, 6 a.m. demos because for him, he was in another time zone. At 5 a.m. on the East Coast was 8 a.m. So for you guys, at 6 a.m. here is 7 a.m. over there. So people are up, people are going. There's early birds who like to do things early. You can rock a virtual demo at 7 a.m. Their time, boom, drop a nice sale and keep rolling. But you don't need to do that every day. But I know for Alex, like, hey, 2 days a week, I'm committed to just grinding the full day. The other days I'll just work half the day and make sure I do my 5 appointments. So his half days are 5 demos. That's a half day to Chavez, and he's like, in 2 days a week, I'm gonna go for 10 and just absolutely blitz it. It's just during the push, there's a time to push yourself. It's time to push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's to do something that doesn't feel good, doesn't feel comfortable, but it stretches you and it makes you more confident. It increases your capacity. It increases, your mind in terms of and you'll see that. You'll see a different confidence that you gain in what's possible for yourself. Oh, and your pocketbooks, those look really nice too. And you guys will get those paychecks and you're like, well, what? That's pretty cool. All right. I am so excited to see our guys making not just their first common checks, but who's going to get their first $2,000 common check, $3,000 common check, $4,000 common check. Those checks usually come either during someone's super huge fast start or during the push. This is when we see not just one person, but we see 5, 7, 10 plus people all earning 2, 3, 4, 5 grand during these weeks. And it's really exciting to see my guys just saving money, putting money away. One of the best things Patty told me yesterday, he's like, can you teach us this year what to do with the money we make? I was like, yes, I will. Because last year he's like, I made a lot of money and I spent it. And I was like, yeah, we're going to invest. We're going to put money away. We're going to teach you guys. It's a good problem though. And it's like, I just made so much money. I don't know what to do with it. So other people are like, I'm so broke, I have no money. Where I love that the problem here is, what do I do with all my money? So we're going to show you guys how to make a lot of money that you don't need. All right. And we're going to show you how to start investing now young, because when you start doing that now young, it's incredible the life that you create for yourself long term, by the way, when you start thinking about money young. And most people don't. When I was 19, I didn't think about it, you know, and I'm in a worse case than you were, Patty. I made 22 grand my first summer. Within 4 months, I was negative. I owed money on my credit cards. All right. Because I didn't know about saving. I was like, I'm the richest person ever. I went to Europe. Now, by the way, I did pay off my school loans, which were a couple grand a year. I did prepay my senior year. So I did do that. All right. So I did do something responsible. All right. But then I partied really hard in Europe. I traveled all over. I stayed like in some hostels, but then I was like, dude, I got money. I stayed in a 5-star on the water in Spain, and Costa del Sol. I went here. I traveled every weekend. I went to Greece. I went to Switzerland. I went every weekend. I went somewhere. I bought flights everywhere. I was Santa Claus, like literally, because my family doesn't have money. I was like, I'm gonna be Santa Claus this Christmas. When I was in Italy, I went on a crazy shopping spree in Florence. I bought my dad all these Salvador Ferragamo ties. He loved them. He always be like, oh, I want those ties. I bought my mom her first Louis Vuitton bag. I bought my sisters their first Louis Vuitton bags, like smaller ones. Like I came back and I was like, Merry Christmas, you know, and like all this nice stuff that my family was always like, oh wow, but they're like, oh, we'll never have that, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna buy them stuff. I bought myself a very nice wardrobe, lots of fancy stuff, Gucci bags, sunglasses, stuff that I should not have been spending money on. But I was like, I'm rich. All right, I had no concept of money, but I came back, have spent everything, and in credit card debt. Beautiful thing is with Cutco, in 2 weeks you can get out of that. And I worked hard during the break. I made 10 grand, paid off all my stuff, and then that spring made another $10,000 working 1 day a week around school while training to open an office that summer for my branch. So we have a company where it's crazy the income you guys can make so quickly, but there's things to learn. All right. So during today, I'm going to be grabbing you guys to do skills checks. Some of you guys have PCs later today, some tomorrow, but we want to see you close. Cool. Close me. I want to see how you're closing. I want to see you ask for recommendations, just so we can give you guys some keys. But again, even before that, let's make sure that we set up your recommendation stuff properly so you're able to really maximize the results that you have. Okay. So grab coffee, grab whatever. Go wherever you want to sit down, sit on the floor, sit in the other room. Guys, if you spread yourself out in an area or you get things a little bit messy, just clean up after yourselves, okay? Because we do have interviews later. We do have things going on, so we don't want to make a mess of everything. This room can be this can be the messy room that we're going to like fix books and stuff in all throughout the day, but feel free to go everywhere, all right? So Warriors, let's go.